So what does a pastor need of Greek to be able to preach and teach the Bible faithfully? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about that because it's a really important question, and more pastors need to learn the original languages so that they can preach and teach the Word of God with clarity and conviction, being clear on being able to teach what the text itself is actually saying. So let me lay this out, if you like, in multiple levels. So what do you need to start? You really need at least a basic knowledge of the languages. And while you've got Greek for the rest of us and things like that, tools like that are really intended to help you sort of look at a Bible software like Accordance or Logos Bible software and use that to be able to sort of pick your way through the text. The problem with those approaches is that you're really not really doing any better than working with a translation. And you might think, well, that's a bit extreme, but here's the reason why. Really what you're doing is you're looking at individual words, you're looking at the usage of those words, whether it's a dative or a genitive or whatever, and then you're going and looking at translations, you're looking at commentaries to sort of try and figure out what these things really mean in their context. Now, that's okay. It's certainly going to give you a better understanding of what the commentaries are saying, but it's not going to give you the kind of knowledge you're going to need to actually take a piece of text and unfold it, if you like, so that you can see the structure of it and then turn that into a sermon outline. And if you're going to be faithful to preach the text as the text, you really need to be able to go to that next level and lay the text out from what it reads for itself. And so that's why we teach through beginning Greek. We actually teach you not only the grammar, but also how to read the text yourself as well. Because this then allows you to flow through the text, to start to see the contours of the text for yourself. You can start then to see how the author has worded things. And not only that, you can also start to see how they've used certain words, certain roots. Maybe it goes from a verb form to a noun form to an adjective form. And you can see how the author's using this verbal or noun idea, this lexical idea, in the context to make his larger point. And this is really important. And this is something that you normally don't see if you're picking and choosing your way through, because you're going to look at a word and you say, oh yeah, that means such and such. Oh yeah, cool, that's a noun, great, okay. Oh, here's this word, it means such and such. And you actually miss the point that these are actually built off the same root, and you miss the point that he's building a connection between those two things. So this is a really important thing, to be able to read through the text for yourself. And so you really want to go through beginning Greek fully with the goal of being able to not only understand the text and the grammar, but also to read through it yourself so you can automatically see these connections and put them together in your own mind. But you really need to go even, I think, a step beyond that if you're going to be preaching and teaching the text as well. And this is why most seminaries, when you go and you learn Greek for preaching, they're going to put you through an intermediate or advanced, perhaps, if you want to call it that, Greek course. And that is to say, you're going to learn how the grammar breaks down in more detail. You're going to learn about the different uses of the genitive. You're going to learn about the different forms of the dative. You're going to look at how the present tense form is being used in certain narrative texts and how that differentiates it from an aorist tense verb. You're going to see those kinds of things. And that then is going to mean you're going to see the structure of the text as the author is trying to lay out what is the primary idea, what is background information, what is then the subordinate ideas. And you will miss this if you're looking at it in a translation. English doesn't work the same way as Greek. And so what you'll often find is that something like a participle, which is a verbal form, which is subordinated to a finite verb, you'll find that both the participle and the finite verb get translated as finite verbs in English. And that means you can't tell which one of those is primary unless you're actually looking at it in the Greek. But if you're looking at it in the Greek, you can see really easily how those are working. And sure, if you're using tools, maybe you can figure that out as well. But for the most part, you're not going to follow that kind of structure and see that for yourself. And that's really where the benefit is. If you're going to be pulling together a sermon outline, you really want to be able to say, well, what's the main idea? What is the author really trying to tell us in this text? Where is his emphasis? Knowing Greek, being able to read Greek, and then having that extra knowledge of the grammar is critical for this, because then you can start to roll out, unfold, if you like, the central idea of every piece of text in the New Testament. Every sentence has a central idea, and every paragraph, if you like, has key sentences in it that are going to really hold that together. So those are the sorts of things you really want to be able to see and you want to see that in the original language. And then knowing all of that grammar allows you to unfold all of that so you can start to put together an outline. And this is really where your interpretive elements come in. This is where you're going to be going back to your hermeneutics and your interpretation framework to understand, well, what is the context here getting at? Where did Paul start this subject, and why did he go off and say therefore or for or whatever the conjunction is in this particular instance? Those kinds of questions are critical. And when we're looking at this, you want to be able to say, well, what is the author's intent? Right? What is he trying to communicate to his hearer, and how do we relate that to our own time 20 odd centuries later on? These are critical questions to be able to unfold, and that's why we teach all of this stuff in the Mastery membership. But coming up, because it's Black Friday coming up, we're putting together a lot of this in a bundle. And if you're interested in that, then go download our Roadmap to Mastery at bma.to/roadmap, and that'll get you, at least make sure you know about this as it starts to roll out over the next few days. So check that out and don't miss out on that. The key point I want to make to you here, though, is that if you want to be able to teach and preach the text of the New Testament with accuracy and with efficiency, you not only need to be able to pick your way through words in Greek, you need to be able to understand how the author is putting everything together, and then you need to have sound hermeneutical principles to be able to identify how the author is using different components, understand enough of the language to be able to see where the emphasis is lying, and then you can start to structure a sermon outline that really pulls that out. Now, if you're interested in more on this, I'd love to hear your comments below. We haven't really talked much about preparing sermons on this channel, but it's something we could do more of if you're interested, so let me know in the comment section below. If this is helpful, again, don't forget to download our Roadmap to Mastery, bma.to/roadmap. We've just refreshed it, and it's really intended to help you sort of see the whole path to be able to read the New Testament in the original language. So check that out. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, keep taking small, consistent steps toward mastery of the original languages, and I'll see you in the next video.